everybody, and welcome to Bugbear's Basement. I am Chester C. Busby III, or Bugbear, and very happy to have you guys with us today, as usual. Of course, today we are doing RPG night. That is right, Mox Rocks. We are doing the final act of season one of God's Blood, and we'll be getting to that in a moment. Of course, we're going to give a few minutes to
Mhm.
let some people come on in here. Do keep in mind we do appreciate you guys checking out all our links and subs and likes and all that. Where of course, it's wonderful. But keep in mind, hit that share button and let your family, friends, and extended community know what's going on, so they can come in here and join us. And we'll give them a few minutes to do that. So before I do that, of course, I always want to go over here and say hello to my panel. Hello, George. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to the final episode. It has been a long, treacherous, and difficult road. I don't foresee any less difficulty as I struggle with my character.
Hmm.
And I got a lot of other paragraphs and words and stuff like that, but it's too long for an intro.
Well, actually, this is Act Four today now, and of course the actually episode five, because we did have an episode zero where we created the characters and went through all that, and this is the fourth actual video of playing the story out. So
Oh, so
it.
this is the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull episode. Oh, for crying out loud! I thought this was the
Hopefully, hopefully not.
Return of the
Hopefully
Jedi
not.
episode.
Hopefully not. Although, I get the angst people had about the Crystal Skull. It wasn't that bad. The real problem was the stupid little bouncy monkey kid. What was his name?
Shy.
Oh, the Shia LaBeouf. That's right, Shia LaBeouf. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the only real issue in the thing. I mean, he's just this annoying, but he's always annoying. I never really understood what Spielberg saw in him, because he's just this annoying, whiny, cringy thing in
Uh, he, wa-
everything he does.
he was just a he was just a light Brie Larson of that time.
In a way, and he still is. I mean, he can't. He's out of his mind. He's constantly doing crazy things. He actually gets himself arrested for his activism. He could have saved the world. Did you know?
Do it.
Yeah,
Just do it.
yeah, that was funny. But anyway, thank you, George, for joining us. And of course, we're also joined by the Denali Lama as usual. Hello, sir.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Chester. Happy to, I wasn't expecting to join doing this, but I was happy that I jumped in when you guys were making the characters and was able to continue on and last throughout these four sessions.
Yeah, well,
And
it's fun. It's
yeah,
role playing is a lot of fun. It's something we come together. You got to use your brain, and you got to interact with people. The good thing about tabletop gaming, whether it be role playing here specifically, or board gaming, or cards or whatever, the good thing about it is it teaches you social interaction. And I think that's why we're going through this golden age. It's a strange thing because, video games are this multi-billion-dollar industry, right? But we've had this amazing shift toward tabletop gaming across all demographics. And the reason I think it is because video games are a lot of fun, but you're basically sitting there by yourself. Whereas when you're sitting at a table with a bunch of people, you're having more fun. You're interacting with people, and of course, it teaches you a lot as well.
and
Um,
you're not paying a $14.99 subscriptions to play the game either.
Well, that's true. But although board games aren't necessarily cheap, but they are cheaper investment for sure. Picture Trader
Yeah.
says, Chester, let's promote DNQFE as Battle Maiden Night. The art contest ends Friday, so let's get lots of people to play along. All right, dude, no problem. There you go. So we're doing Battle Maiden Night for DNQFE this week. The art contest ends on Friday, so you should give me more information about that pixel so I can promote it more directly. But awesome. I guess I need to
Or he
understand what a Battle Maiden is.
battle from that creator who did Battle Maiden
Is
Knuckle
it is it
Bomb.
is it simple Kyung Lee? Is it just
Yeah,
simply a promotion of Kyung Lee? That's cool. I
yeah.
like Kyung Lee. He's a nice seems like a nice fella, and he's a really good artist.
See,
Although,
Pixel, why don't you just come in and promote it?
yeah,
You know,
Pixel,
you're
just come
making
on in here, man. Don't make me
you,
guess
you
my way through it.
exactly. Shame on you, Pixel.
Yes, Pixel. Although I can usually play my way through it pretty well, I think. But no, I do like Kyung Lee actually. I do
Yeah.
think I know a lot of people like the thickness of his girls because this is a modern terminology I've learned recently from these millennials I hang around with. But he does do them a little bit too thick for me. I like a more balanced lady, but those who like the thickness, awesome. And Pixel says, okay, fine. So he's coming in. He's got to come in and tell us something.
Yes. Yes.
The
Come
boss
in.
is coming. Everybody, best behavior. George, don't say a word. Oh, hi, Pixel.
Oh, hi, Pixel.
Oh,
I have my microphone mute, so I won't say a word at all.
all right, good.
I'm going to be as quiet as a church mouse.
Please.
Not a word.
Okay,
Absolutely
thank you,
not a word.
George. That's enough of the joke. So, Pixel, what's up, man?
Yeah, no, well, I was talking to Kyung about this because he's doing a promotion for Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. He's doing a fan art contest, and first place winner gets some nice prizes. Second and third place winner also get nice prizes, but the winning entries actually get printed in the book.
Oh,
So
that's awesome. That is
Did
yeah,
awesome.
they? Because
yeah,
I submitted my artwork to that too. Wow.
yeah, I saw that. So there's definitely a good incentive to do it. Plus, I mean, first place you get a nice signed comic, little sketch cover, and everything too. But the fact that your work could actually get printed is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Yeah, absolutely. So everybody, get on that. If you haven't checked out Kyung Lee's Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb, you can check it out right here. Pixel put that link up. Just go click over on that and get involved in the art contest. So I know we have a lot of artists in here, so definitely start working on that and for your entries. And we will definitely do that on the fan edition this week. That sounds fun. I'm really happy at last week's fan edition, Pixel, that I made the decision to do the Peter Mayhew tribute. Man, did you see the art that came out of that?
Yes, I did. It was amazing.
Jeez. I mean, it's particularly Jim O'Reilly. I
Yeah,
really think that is like something that Star Wars itself should pick up.
yeah,
I
definitely.
mean,
It was amazing, and actually, I mean, all the people, even the people that were drawn along at home and everything, it was really nice to see how
it
many
was.
different pieces came out of that.
It was. It was really cool. I think one of the most heart-wrenching ones was actually from the hashtag DNQFE draw along, and it was someone that had Chewie holding the limp dead body of Peter Mayhew in his arms. Man, that was stark. It
Oof,
was
I don't
good.
remember seeing that one
That was really
specifically.
good.
I might have, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was just hitting like and like retweeting every single one that came through on that hashtag. So
Mm.
hopefully I caught everybody.
Yeah, no, it's really cool, and I like the draw along in general anyway. But
Yeah.
people definitely get involved in that. Get you a chance to get in there into Kyung Lee's book. We know he is he's one of the anointed. So his book will get a lot of support. Therefore, it will get published. So if you get your thing in there, it will be seen. There you go. It's pretty awesome. All right. Well, there you go. Pixel has said what he has to say, and that's that. All right.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Well, I mean, it's definitely getting published. He made 43,000. It's still in demand, so he's getting there. I think it's supposed to be later this year. The book's coming out, but he's been busting his butt on it. He added more pages to it because he felt he couldn't tell the story in the number of pages he had,
Hmm.
and he's just been working constantly to get this book knocked out. So it's going to be it's one of the first manga books for CG, but also I think it's the best crowd-funded manga on Indiegogo, if I'm
Oh,
not
really?
mistaken.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
awesome. That
I,
is
I
awesome.
can't recall. That was something that Edwin had said. I'm not certain if that's the case. I know there were some that probably over on Kickstarter that have done better, but I think on Indiegogo his tops.
Yeah, and Kyung seems like a really nice guy anyway. Now I know you've met him, so tell us
Yes,
a little bit about Kyung, man.
Kyung is a big dude. So I mean, I'd seen pictures of him, but like he's got to be about 6'5", six
Wow.
four. But the epitome of gentle giant, like super nice guy, totally laid back, low voice. Just wanted to hang out and talk about comics and had all kinds of stories to talk about and was super interested in what everybody else was checking out and everything. He just very, very humble dude. And I'm really happy for him for what he's done here. I really wish his book would have done even better than currently is. I think once people see it, they're going to be kicking themselves and will want to get in on it for the next time around. So
Cool.
I'm definitely going to try to push it harder. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, and that's kind of the problem with the comic book thing because we can see the art, and of course, as we've said many times, art is what draws you in, but the writing and story is what keeps you coming back. And unfortunately, we've seen several projects that have good art, but the story is no good. It's just not engaging, and that's kind of the problem, unfortunately, with comic books. Whereas if something like, say, in the board game world or video game stuff, you can see more readily what you got to get. Unfortunately, but hoping
Right.
that the story is really good, actually, because there have been some that have been really good too. I'm not saying they're all bad. Of course, they're not. There's many of them that are good, but it is kind of dicey. So I'm really hoping that Kyung's is really good. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. But anyway, uh, thank you very much. I see Pope Fire is in here, and she basically is just trying to get my attention because on Friday, of course, we because of my responsibilities, I don't have a show right now on that, and of course, we moved FanSpeak to Saturday, which we had a fun little FanSpeak, our first new Saturday FanSpeak. It was fun, but Pope decided she would take that Friday and do her own FanSpeak, and she's telling me it was better. It was much better, Chester. Okay, Pope.
Only if you
Oh,
drink like 2 bottles of whiskey.
Ooh, goodness gracious. So you're
Then
talking
then then
about
then,
like wild
then
drunk, dude.
yeah, then you can consider her stream better.
Okay, well there you go. So if
so
you
it's a
want
drink
to,
along stream.
it's a drink along
Yeah,
stream. There you go.
Yeah.
Get drunk
yeah.
with Pope Fire and enjoy a better fan speak. All right.
Oh yeah.
She's saying, does this mean I could do fan speak again? Well, you didn't ask me permission the first time. So, I don't know what you're talking about. And then you're gonna come in here and tell me that you're much better than me. I don't know, dude. That's not how you make friends, Pope.
That doesn't work. It does not work.
But of course, Pope, if you want to do something in that time slot, please do, by all means. Of course, we'd appreciate it if you would more if you come in and stop in and say hi more on occasion. You've been a very what's the word I want to say? Rarely seen founder. How's that? I'll put it like that. But I have to. You asked Denali's permission. You gave her permission. She's blaming you.
And I said also that she has to ask everybody else.
Oh, oh no. Of course she can. It's no problem. We love Pope Fire, and she does do some fun streams actually, particularly her drink along ones. And Booster did come in before the show and say hi to us. Of course, he's not doing the thing today, so he's not going to be part of it. But he did come and say hi, and we know Booster likes to go enjoy his drink alongs with the Pope Fire. So, although that Titan one, I was worried for their livers though.
The giggles
I don't
are
think I don't
amazing.
think season 2 is not going to be any better either.
No,
From
no, no.
what's shaping up to be.
Nick W. That's not how you make friends, Pope. Chester 2019. Thanks, Nick. Thanks. Yeah. But all right. Anyway, thank you very much, Pixel, coming and telling us about that, guys. Definitely check out Kyung Lee's art contest to be in his book, Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. I think that's very cool, and of course, we'll promote the hell out of it here on Thursday's fan edition of Drawn and Quartered, and we'll have some fun with that. It is a cool looking character too, so I'm sure the artist will have fun with it as well. Do you have any heads up yet what Mike is doing this week? Any idea, Pixel, what
Sorry, I
Mike's?
had myself muted. No, I haven't heard yet. Actually, I haven't watched any of his streams in the last couple of days too. I've just been too busy, so it's up in the air right now. I'll ping him and see if he has an idea going
Yeah,
on.
cool.
But
Maybe we can do some collaboration with that. I mean, Kyung is a regular on his show.
yeah, I'll push him and see what he can do.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fun.
I think it would be too. Yeah. But anyway, thank you, Pixel. All
Hmm.
right, guys. What we're going to do now, of course, transition over into today's show. And of course, that involves going into a role playing mode. Is everyone ready for their role playing this?
We'll wing it.
You'll wing it. Yeah, okay. That's what worries me. But anyway, let me come over here and share with the panel so they can see what's going on as well. All right, let me let me get myself geared up here. All right, all right, all right, all right. All right. So this is Act 4 of God's Blood. Now, as I had said before with the God's Blood, but I'll do a quick little run through here just so we know. The year is 2082. And of course, back in the year 2020, 62 years ago, there was a major event there that ended up finding out that for 3 days the sky looked like this. It was full of lights and green lights, and people didn't know what was going on. And the great rains came, et cetera, et cetera. And they come to find out that it actually was the dead consciousness of a mad god that an alien confederation had come together and defeated. After they killed it, however, the consciousness did flee, and it took 7 days for this enormous consciousness to pass through the earth. And it caused a lot of death, the rain, and many people died. And in the end, though, some of the survivors actually were changed. They were God touched. And these aliens, the Lagon you see up here, came and they felt kind of guilty because they didn't do it directly, but they did kill the god, and it caused our trouble. So they stayed with us for a few years trying to help us, and a lot of things were built, including these Eries, and many things were copied off of this type of technology. And of course, for the few years they were with us, it was kind of almost a golden age, even after such a disaster. But there were other pressing things that pulled them away, and they left the planet. But they left the Sentinel. The Sentinel was here to try to help us, and for a few years it did. But then the Sentinel was killed and disappeared. We don't know exactly what happened with the Sentinel, but because of that, though, war eventually raged across the planet for decades. And it wasn't one big country versus another big country. It was quite different than that. It was actually a lot of little skirmishes across the planet. And eventually, what happened was it caused the creation of literally thousands of little nations, kingdoms, nation states, what have you. And the warring and killing had got this to such a level that about a decade before our story here in 2070, an alliance of people came together and said, "All right, we got to stop this. We need to end this fighting. We need to stop it. We need to move forward." And of course, this was the creation of the UKA, or the United Kingdoms Alliance. And many of these thousands have joined the alliance. Not all, about 80% or so. But the ones that have created good trade unions and a lot of peaceful interaction with each other to a point. And this is starting to attract the remaining 20% to join in, but it's a rocky road, as you would expect. And of course, what the UKA did was it chose a mysterious ancient organization called the Order of the Sun to take care of their policing and organization of things. Right. So the management and the policing of the UK is taken care of the, which often is called just the order. And the our players here, we have ourselves with us today, of course, our main crew. We have Ricky the Mongoose and Ragnarok himself. I keep forgetting to get that picture. I have to go grab it. But these are one of many of recruited people that have been brought in by the order to help in the policing and management of things. Now, this group here, of course, is part of the Jupiter 10 group. Now, the Eries, as I showed you a moment ago, these things, there was 9 of them built, and that's kind of why they ended up naming them after the planets, right? And this is the Jupiter one, and all the other Eries are used and designed for the management of things throughout the UK. They weren't built that way originally, but that's what they've been converted to. But there are 9 other teams here on Jupiter. This is the youngest and newest team, Jupiter 10, which is ours. And they have been currently involved in dealing with the Blue Lotus. Now, the Blue Lotus is a big old Chinese tong, right? And they're one of the most powerful groups in the solar system, actually. And they're black market. They're gangsters, right? They do those kind of things. But recently, it had come to the attention of the order that they have found a way to control the breed. Now, the breed are simply the God touched, or the people, the infected by the event, as children, right? And both of our players here are actually breed themselves. And of course, this is a major problem. You can't have a group that can somehow mentally control a superpower beings. That's a bad thing. And this is why the whole order is on high alert, and all their resources are focused toward dealing with a Blue Lotus. And that's really what we've been dealing with. Now, of course, we had found ourselves in New Pittsburgh, and we had done work in there where they first interacted with the Razorbacks. That was really cool, and they defeated them and ended up getting some information and saving a bunch of breed. We also went on to Daedalus 5, which is an independent neutral space station, and they interact with Dr. Chen, and they ended up walking away with nothing in our last mission, and coming back, of course, to the Erie. Now, you guys got any comments or anything you want to say before we move on into today's episode? George,
I'm ready.
you ready? Denali?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
All right. All right, then here we go. Now, as I said, when they were on the Daedalus 5, they had interacted. This was not directly connected to their mission, but in the end, it kind of was. And what they found up here, they were getting reports from this independent neutral station, right? This is not part of any kind of UK or anything like that. But they did ask for assistance, and because they said the station was haunted, and what they were getting was these strange murders where they were just finding the dead bodies were completely desiccated, and it was kind of a mystery, and these guys were taking on more of a detective role when they went in here. And what they ended up finding out was the Blue Lotus kind of really has a strong control, if not complete control, over the Daedalus network, which is not just this one Daedalus 5, but all the other space stations. And this is, of course, worrying unto itself. But they also were doing some kind of experimentation, or some experiment got loose. And during the situation, one of the workers, who was a breed, and it's interesting that Daedalus stations have invited many breed who are very highly persecuted, depending on where they are, to come and live on them. And of course, we know that the Blue Lotus has found a way to control them. And this breed here was taken, and something was done to her. We don't know, and she was literally sucking the life like a vampire out of people. And in the end, unfortunately, our crew had to cut her head off to stop her. Extremely powerful character, but they were successful in that. Unfortunately, they were not able to get the body back because Dr. Chen and his lieutenants were able to destroy the body. However, we are sitting back on the Jupiter Erie right now, and you guys have had yourselves about, oh, it's been a couple weeks actually, and you haven't heard anything, and things have been really slow. You haven't gone on any missions. You've had some training sessions, and you've had some basic things to keep your mind busy, paperwork and things like that, but nothing particularly exciting. And then all of a sudden, you get it's not an alarm, it's an announcement that goes out throughout the whole city, and saying that at 10 a.m., which is in 2 hours, there will be a joint meeting of all order societies. And this repeats 3 times, actually. So your characters have 2 hours before you're supposed to be at a big old meeting here at the Jupiter. It'll be set at the Academy's amphitheater, which of course you guys know where that is. But you do have 2 hours. Is there anything you'd like to do during that time?
Um, how much time has elapsed between the last mission and now?
2 weeks.
And my let me look at this. My intuition, which is remarkable or
hmm
incredible 40.
George,
eh,
I keep telling you don't need to give me the number, just the word.
okay. My incredible intuition is has the back of the hairs on my character up and raised. Something's going on.
Yeah, obviously.
Do, okay. do I roll a dice to
No, you don't
get
need any
more
dice to
information
know
before
something's
the
going
meeting?
on, seeing as they just told you something is going on, George.
Yeah, I just want to find out something more before the meeting.
I see.
Okay, then I shrug my shoulders and continue eating ice cream.
All right. How about you, Dinale?
Um, I want to check if our ship has been pulled back and repaired. Um, and see if there's any upgrades being made to the ship.
Okay. It has been brought back. It has been repaired. No updates.
Okay. And then the last thing is maybe go back to our armory and ask for a S to see if let me see. No, that's about it. There's really nothing that we have done. I don't think um would I guess the only thing I would try to do is try to recall
Mhm.
what the debriefing was from Tillman, I guess, from the last mission, see if there was anything pertinent that would, trigger why this announcement would be calling.
Okay. Now, you did, of course, you had a debriefing after you got back, but
Mhm.
it was very light. And Mr. Tillman, of course, he was kind of his typical pedantic self, but he wasn't particularly harsh on you. He was happy with the information you brought back. Of course, it would have been really nice if you was able to get that body back as well. But you were understaffed. Really, there was only two of you there to deal with a pretty difficult situation. But this is the problem going on throughout the order, all across the order right now. Everything is spread so thin because you have all the other teams from the other Eries, which is you can assume that that's a 90 teams, right? 90 to 100
Mhm.
teams are running around like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off, trying desperately to find an in route to the Blue Lotus and figuring out how they can deal with it. So everything is thin right now. And so he understood that, so he wasn't particularly harsh on you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, then that would be it for right now. I guess he would be just picking up his weapons and just being ready to see what this whole debriefing or this briefing's going to be in the 2 hours.
Okay. You do talk to your other friends, and of course, you guys, your Jupiter 10 team has many members. I mean, we've never really nailed it down, but it's probably more than a dozen, right? And of course, you know the other Jupiter teams as well. Although some of the Jupiter teams you hardly ever see here, particularly like Jupiter 1 and Jupiter 4 are hardly ever in the Erie. But you
Elitist.
don't. Well, they're kind of the most successful ones, but you don't know where they are, and they never
Hmm.
talk about it. But all the other Eries, they have their high end teams too. Like for instance, the Saturn Six team is probably the most elite of all the order teams, the all of the Erie teams for sure.
Hmm.
So during that time, everyone is kind of asking the same questions, but nevertheless, you all kind of file into the amphitheater. And
Hmm.
interestingly enough, as you go into the amphitheater, you see sitting up front, of course, we have Miss Simmons is sitting up there. A couple of the teachers and and educators and such that are here as far as management individuals. But eventually, Mr. Tillman himself walks up and he raises his hand, and everyone sits down. And he says, "Thank you, everybody, for coming and joining us today. we have some very, very good news. And as he does this, he waves his hand toward the wall behind him, and of course, the large screen that is there comes on. And what you see is a collage of images come up, and it's showing all the other Erie cities, Saturn and Mars and all the other ones, pop up, and it has their amphitheaters are full too. So this is a joint order assembly, right? And who comes on is the order leader, and he starts speaking about the various successes that the order has had over time, and the trust that the people of the earth have put in them, yada yada yada. And he's just doing a politicking thing as a politician would. He doesn't really give you say anything particularly useful. But as he does this, you do notice that the camera is spinning around and showing different Eries and different people. And like I've said, the Saturn Six is shown there, and several of the people like, because they're kind of like superstars. You even have Jupiter 1 and 4 is here, plus many of the other very famous teams are being shown. Of course, in those teams, you have some famous individuals as well. And of course, this is a closed meeting. This is not some public announcement, but nevertheless, just because you're a member of the order doesn't mean you can't be a fan of some of the legendary celebrities that are in it. But after he's done with his kind of useless speech, he turns it over to the individual Erie bosses, right? And the screen itself becomes the order symbol, right? And Mr. Tillman comes up and he raises his hand over his head, and everybody stands. Of course, you guys know what this is. And he says, "For the order, justice." And everyone says, "Justice." "For humanity, salvation." Everyone says, "Salvation." And then he says, "We shall go into the night and we shall bring peace and order back, as is our prerogative." And he starts going into this big long speech. And you guys know that's kind of the motto, and everyone puts their hand up and type of thing. It might seem a little bit of 1984, but it's not really kind of felt that way. It's more patriotic. Nevertheless, he goes into and starts telling what's happened. And on the screen behind him, he starts showing several of the various order teams, and then displaying some of the successes they've had during this past several months that you guys have been working on this. And in the end, what has happened is they have found out that the Blue Lotus organization was much bigger than they thought it was. It covers many things, not only control of the dataless stations, but also they have influences in from anything ranging from simple influence to direct control of many of that 20% of nations that refuse to join the UKA. The Blue Lotus has something going on in all of them, right? So this organization is way bigger and way more powerful than was initially thought. And from the past few months of all these teams just focusing on it is what has brought it up. And then you see a picture, interestingly, of Mars. Now,
Hmm.
he says, and this is what has led us to today. We are about to embark in the next 2 hours on a full on invasion of the Blue Lotus colony on Mars. This is where they are centered. This is where it's all coming from. If we cut the head of the snake off, it shall end this tyranny. And it will take time to clean it up throughout the Earth and the solar system, of course. But this is a decisive moment. We are going to the Blue Lotus colony, which, of course, he goes on to explain that they didn't even know that there was an actual Blue Lotus colony at all on Mars. It was actually marked as something else. It was actually supposed to be some kind of Kansas consortium had gone over and set up a mining endeavor, but actually it's a Blue Lotus colony center, and this is your goal. And he does a few other kind of inspirational comments because Mr. Tillman, for as boring as bland as he is, he can actually be quite inspirational when he has to be. And he gets everyone riled up, and we are going to war, he says. Go to your transports and get ready. So, over the next 2 hours, you guys are collecting your gear and doing the things you need to do. And of course, all the other Jupiter 10 members are here as well. and everyone is getting ready to get on the transport. You see various other members like Envoy and different ones are setting up, make sure all the weapons. They're doing system checks, et cetera, et cetera. And actually, George being one of the main, Ricky being one of the main pilots, is actually part of that process. But then you see that as you guys are doing this, you're busy, busy, busy. All this kind of activity going on. Miss Simmons comes up to you, Ricky, and Ragnarok specifically, and says, "Could you come with me, please?" Now you guys follow her, and you
Yeah.
go over to Mr. Tillman's office. And Mr. Tillman says, "I got something special for you guys. Have a seat."
Okay.
You guys know this is a big day where it's not something the order usually doesn't do full on military battles, but the situation calls for it. So all hands on deck, as it were. But I have something I need you guys to do when we're planet side, specifically you two. Right now, understand there are many teams doing many things, many focuses, of course, but I don't need you in the main battles. We have people to deal with breaching their various defenses and dealing with that. What I need you two to do is I need you to get into the subsystems uh, of their colony, and I need you to get data information. And as he's saying that, Miss Simmons actually hands you a strange looking box. It's actually very reminiscent for you guys because you've read files and you've seen the History Channel and all that kind of stuff. It's very much a Lagon technology. And she hands it to you. He says, all you need to do is to get to any kind of communication hub, and of course there are many throughout a colony. This device will extract the information we need. This is on loan. Do not break it. Please return it, Miss Simmons says. Mr. Tillman looks at you and he says, "You do whatever you have to do to get it done. We need this data. This is your job. Do not worry about engaging in combat. Do not worry about any of those things. I need you to get this data. Do you understand?"
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Very well. Go and join your team on your transports, and I'll see you planetside. So,
I would. I before jumping in, I would ask Miss Simmons for those cloaking, the cloaks, invisibility cloaks that we used back in our first mission when we went to New Pittsburgh. Since our main mission is extraction, it'll be better if we can infiltrate unseen.
she smiles and holds up a briefcase. I figured so.
Thank you, ma'am. I would take the briefcase and I would look at Ricky to see if she has anything to say to Miss Simmons or
George?
you know.
Um, is is there a schematic of the location where we're going so that we have a better understanding of how quickly we can get to these terminals?
Unfortunately, no. This is
All
the head
right.
of the beast. We have very little information beyond the fact that now know that this is the head of the beast. That's
All
about
right.
it.
Understood.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Is there one more question? Is there any device, any kind of radar, scanner, jammer that will be able to pick up the signal from the terminals so we can zero in on it at all?
She says that your normal communication bracers that all of you have will be able to do that once you get underneath their shielding. Of course, you guys are going to be deployed. Mr. Tillman pops in after the initial force fields and stuff are dropped. So be a little patient. That shouldn't take too long, but we are hoping that we have the state of surprise on our side, and they haven't been somehow tipped off. If we do, we should be able to breach those shields very quickly and get into the main combat. Once they're breached, though, you will be able to use your normal comm devices for such things.
Okay.
All right. So you guys go back. You got your secret mission. You
oh,
join your. All right, go ahead.
I, I was going to ask, does the ship have a cloaking device?
No, dude, you don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
You're good. This is a armada about to go in here. Well, an armada of 9
Okay.
ships. So, well, actually more than that. But no, no, no.
Okay.
You don't have anything like that. No.
Okay.
Of course, your little ship does, but that's not how we're doing this. You'll see. You guys go back to your Jupiter 10 transport, which is your home away from home. You guys use it a lot, and other members use it from time to time. Actually, it depends on who's doing what at what time. But you go back, and the entire team can fit on here. You got a dozen people in here, all strapped in, and of course, people we've seen before, like Supernova, I think was his name, and we got Envoy, and we have many of the other members of the team. Of course, you guys trained with, you know, really, really well, and everyone's buckled in, and you guys get into your ship and you start going into orbit. And of course, you see the other 9 transports leaving at the same time, and all of you guys begin to journey to your designated starship, which is called, or excuse me, I should call it spaceship. It's not a starship. Your designated spaceship, the Helios Wanderer, and you guys go in. You dock with all the other 9, all 10 of the Jupiter teams dock in here, and the ship gets underway and begins its journey. Now, the journey to Mars is going to take a few days, a couple of days, and it's a little bit shorter than the one you did for Saturn. But interestingly enough, it's not as quick as you might expect, because for some reason, once getting past the asteroid belt, these ships are able to travel much faster. This is a bit of a scientific phenomenon they haven't figured out yet. But nevertheless, you guys are traveling as stealthily as possible. These ships are actually hiding amongst various trade highways, space highways as they were, because all these systems, all these kind of space systems work by following along Birkeland currents, and the Birkeland currents themselves allow the ships to actually gain the high speeds, not the engines particularly. And so there's natural highways that move through the solar system, and they're quite full. There's a lot of mining, there's a lot of transportation, even casual citizens just going on vacations, like for instance to the Daedalus Station, which is an entertainment hub, right? So the solar system is a very active place. There's a lot of stuff going on, especially with the past decade or so of relative peace. Things have started getting back to normal, you know. But you guys travel through those standard lanes for a couple of days, and of course, eventually, Mars comes up. Now, as you guys look down upon the planet, and more than likely for your characters, it might well be the first time you've actually seen Mars. I mean, with your own eyes. And of course, Mars is this picture I picked because it's a cool picture, but Mars itself is extremely busy. There are colonies dotting all over the surface of the planet. There's a huge amount of traffic. This is the most busy destination outside of Earth itself in the solar system. So there's a ton of things going on here, and you guys are moving into position. Now, you guys are listening to coordination that's coming across the loudspeakers. Of course, you're not on the bridge itself, but you are hearing all this, and you hear a lot of ships launching, and your ship launches with them as well. But as you guys get down on the ground with your transports, and you see all the other teams converting in various areas and trying to break down these shields, you feel relieved to a point because it seems like surprise was on your side. It seems like no inside information was given to the Blue Lotus, so that's a good thing. And they are able to breach the shielding very quickly. But of course, once they get into the compound, this Blue Lotus base that you guys are seeing from a distance here is extremely heavily defended. And although we are dealing with superheroes as well as some standard human troopers, it's this is a hard slog. But then again, and the rest of your team members are jumping in and they're coordinating and stuff. But you too are standing, watching the battles commencing, hundreds of yards, if not a kilometer away from you, and you are left with your job. So, how do you want to proceed?
So the shield is down,
The shield
correct?
is down. Yes.
Um, and we're right now observing the fighting. Is there any gap in the fighting or anything noticeable that we can detect that can make us easily bypass the fighting, like a maybe a indirect way.
Oh, sure.
Um,
There are the fighting is certainly as it is on a battlefield. Fighting tends to concentrate around certain troop or company base points, right? So a battlefield certainly has ways to move around it to avoid that. Sure, it's not like it's without it. It's without danger completely. But yeah.
so what I'll recommend to Ricky is like maybe we'll use the cloaks to uh, sneak in the lesser defended areas, and then look for a communication hub, and I would try to make my tap uh, wristband indicate the closest communication hub
Okay.
if it can pick up.
Well, the shields are down, and
Yeah.
the closest type of communication hub you can see is about 800 yards
Hmm.
to your northwest.
Okay. And is there heavy fighting over there?
It's like I said, there's little packs of fighting and stuff. Some of them are just a few people with breed versus breed, or superhero
Hmm.
versus superhero, basically, or a villain, super villain. Some are more troop based and stuff like that, but it's sporadic. There's no clean area, if that's what you mean.
Okay. Right. I'm trying to look for the least amount. Like,
Yes, I
there's
understand
not
that.
too much fighter. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I would suggest to Ricky, and then see what she would say.
George, that's you.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to visualize the whole combat thing and our location.
Well,
Um,
you guys are sitting from the view that you see on this picture. This is where you are. This is your eyes looking at this
okay.
picture.
Okay.
About 800 meters to your northwest, which I meant to your left of this
Okay.
picture, there is an entrance into the compound. You see the compounds are all over the place, but this is the main compound. There's fighting happening all over the place here. Various things, because you have many flyers and you have speedsters and you have all that kind of stuff. So the defenses of the Blue Lotus colony, however, seem to be holding up pretty well. So I would say that right now, even though it's the very beginning of the battle, really, it's only been going on about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I would say that the Blue Lotus are winning in a way because you guys are not really penetrating well as far as the actual force, the vanguard that is pushing the battle forward.
Okay. Therefore, we take out the gear, equipped with a couple of fancy guns that we have in our arsenal, and put on the cloak,
What do you mean
the
fancy
stealth
guns?
cloak.
You have whatever's on your character sheet, George. You do have a cloak, of course, and we also gave you the scanning device, the Lagon scanning device as well. What do you mean
Okay.
fancy guns?
Give me a second. Let me look at my. I don't have any guns. Oh,
Well,
okay.
you are a gun, George.
Yeah, I know, but I wanted a gun that I can throw at somebody's head after I spent all the energy out of it. I can't really throw my head at somebody else's head.
I see. Well,
Okay.
there are guns on board, George, if you want to grab one, but it does exactly what you do. I mean, you are a gun, George.
Well, that's good because my recovery will take time
No, it
after I
doesn't,
use
George. It doesn't take
it.
any
Does it?
time at all, George. Not
Really?
even a little.
Okay.
Yeah, we already know this. We've established this over 3 episodes, dude.
Okay. Now, then my thinking is that if I shoot the bad guy with my um, my energy emission.
Your
I
laser
call it
eyes. Yeah,
my
you can
laser
just say it
eyes.
like that. Yeah.
If I shoot the bad guy with my laser eyes, and I'm shooting the bad guy with a couple of guns that have the same effect as my laser eyes, could I be actually double or tripling up on the
Well,
impact of that
um,
weapon
well, no, that's a
or
good
the
point.
attack?
That's actually a good point. Let me explain how that works, actually, because we have been trying to explain the system as we've gone along. So this is a point we haven't brought up. So let's take a look here. If we look at this chart, Now,
Mhm.
the interesting thing it works is when you're doing multiple attacks in this game is very simple. Let's say you have a remarkable attack, or you're fighting, or agility. You're using ranged attacks, so it's under agility. But say let's say you have a remarkable agility, and you do your single attack. Of course, it falls underneath this roll, right? So we just look under this column and say you roll a 61. Well, that's a yellow. Excuse me, that's a green. It's on the cusp of it right here, right? But say you try to do two attacks. Now, a remarkable allows you to do two attacks around, whereas amazing you can actually is a breaking point where you could do three. Right, so you can do two attacks around under remarkable, but what happens is the first attack comes underneath of excellent. You get a -1 column shift because you're going to do two, and then the next attack comes under good. So you're weakening your ability to hit because you're doing more in a round. Makes sense. Now, damage, on the other hand, works like this. Now, your laser eyes are excellent power rank, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that excellent
Uh,
part.
no, no, it's good. It's good. It's
It's
not
good.
excellent.
It's good. Okay.
Yeah.
So now these laser guns that they're using are doing the same kind of damage. They're good damage. Some of the big heavy powered rifles and stuff like that will actually do like excellent, but the standard equipment does about good. So if you hit with a good gun and you hit with your good lasers, what happens is though they will stack to excellent. So you would do 20 damage instead of good. So it would improve your damage. And then if you were under amazing, for instance, for your attacks, and you did another good, that good to excellent is right next to each other, so it actually would stack onto itself to become remarkable. But if you did a fourth one, which of course no character is going to have the ability to do that at this level of gameplay, but if you did have one, the good going into remarkable, you wouldn't have to. You would have to have another two attacks to get it up to excellent to bring it up to incredible. So technically, George, by using the gun and your laser eyes together, you could do more damage than you usually do. However, you're going to be much weaker at hitting. Do you understand that?
Okay. So weaker at hitting, meaning that my aim would be
Less.
less,
Yeah.
but it won't actually reduce my physicality.
No, you're just busier. You're doing more in the same amount of
Okay.
time. So,
Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Then I want to pack myself up with two guns
okay.
and a stealth cloak.
All right. All right. Good. So that's actually good. We got to explain another mechanic of the game. And of course, as we're going along, I am trying to pay attention sometimes to what's going on in the chat. I am kind of busy, but if you guys do have questions about the game system itself, just go ahead and ask. But anyway, let's go back to what we're doing here. So, you guys are moving yourself in. Now, how do you want to go about this? You want to just put on the cloaks and just stealth your way in completely?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, you guys are moving along. You're seeing a lot of combat going on. Kind of, you're trying to find the path of least resistance. I know, and this is a bit of a bottleneck in here where you guys are going because this is one entry point, and you can see off in the distance there's some other place that they're trying to get into these kind of shell buildings you see here, right? And
Mhm.
but you're able to weave your way through it. You see some members of some of the other Jupiter teams that are here, as well as some of the other just standard order teams that you recognize, celebrity types, are trying to break through. But it's very interesting to you as you're moving along. You do see many of these type of Blue Lotus soldiers, human soldiers, right, with this tech that they wear. You do see plenty of this. You're also occasionally seeing some of these dudes too. So the Razorbacks look seemingly directly in the employ of the Blue Lotus themselves. So you've seen some more of these guys as well. You do see this fella right here, and he is ripping through people like crazy. And you probably feel like you should go jump over and help, but you do have a mission here. But
Mhm.
you do see a lot of these guys. Now, the one thing that stands out to you though is that a lot of the people who are fighting against you are breed. There are many, many, many of them. And the one thing you've learned as you've gone along, the Blue Lotus are a human group. They use the breed, but they are not there. You haven't seen any actual non-human that's a member of Blue Lotus, and you do also know that they kind of frown on cybernetics themselves a little bit. Now, Dr. Shen had cybernetic hands, you guys from your battle with him, but all the other Blue Lotus you've seen throughout your adventures here are just human. They have no cybernetics whatsoever, although they, of course, interacted with the Razorbacks, which are a cybernetic nation, member. So these are the things you notice. Now you get up to the doors, which are being well defended. You're actually standing alone. You understand that right now you are completely alone. There are no other members of the team, as far as you know, of the order that are here. You're literally behind enemy lines. There's an actual battery sitting behind you, and I mean the military battery, not the electrical one, sitting literally just behind you that is bombarding into your troops far behind you. And you're sitting at a door. The door is locked, however.
I would see if there's any. Is there any figures lying on the ground that I could see that maybe I can find a key card to open the door?
Um, Actually, where you're standing, there are no casualties or anything like this. There is a much bigger door that's sitting about 50 yards to the side of you. That battery is sitting right in front of because I said there's a battery behind you. It's about 50 yards away,
Mhm.
and that bigger door, you see casualties being brought in. You see a whole bunch of people moving, but that is much busier place. If you'd like to try to sneak in through there, you could, but you do understand that these these cloaks, are not
Mhm.
perfect, right?
Right.
Being off to the side to this kind of side door, there's nobody here. There's no one around here right now. This would be the most stealthy approach, which is what you said you wanted
Right.
to do.
Yep. No, just looking to see. Is there any figures in the battery, or is this automatic?
Oh no, no. There are Blue Lotus people manning that. They're these human strike team type guys, same kind of armor as these guys, and they are just blasting into your troops because it's not only the very order eerie teams that are here, the superpower
Hmm.
breed or techs or whatever they are, but there's also a lot of troops too, right? So
Right.
these are order troops, and of course the order troops are they're under the control of the order, but they're actually UKA troops, kind of like UN troops. Right, it's the same
Okay.
type of thing, and these people over there operating the battery are just launching mortars and stuff into. It's a full-on battle going on, right? It's full on, it's
Okay.
loud, it's smoky, it's scary, and all those kind of things. You do see a lot of medics and other types that are coming in and out of that big door. Matter of fact, it's left open because there's so much traffic going on back and forth. People are resupplying. You see little vehicles running out to various areas to try to resupply. They're in a bit of panic, right? Because you guys did catch them by surprise. They weren't prepared for a battle, so they're trying to put themselves into a battle position. The problem is you did catch them by surprise, but you're not making ground. And they haven't even got their feet completely under them yet. You can see this. You're not necessarily battle experts, but you have been trained, right? And you can see this is not a good thing. You can tell right off the bat that you guys might lose this day. These guys are way better defended than you would have imagined they would be.
Okay. Um. So, is there any panel that can be hacked into?
Sure, of course.
So what I would do is I would tell Ricky, because I think she has that ability, unless that's Envoy.
No, that's Envoy. Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. Let me see. Um. Is there a way? Am I able to stealth knock them out, like choke them out with my powers?
What do you mean? Who?
Like,
There's nobody
I
here,
thought
dude.
I thought you said there was two guys in the battery
That's
nearby.
50 yards away. There's no more than two. There's
Oh,
actually a bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of
so
activity over there.
so there's nobody where we are,
No, no, no,
basically.
not at all.
Okay.
You said you wanted the most stealthy approach, and as you
Right.
guys are coming
Okay.
up, this was an empty door. It's a little
Okay.
side door, is what it is.
Okay. So what I'll try to do is try to see if we can hack or pick lock or open this door.
All right. Well, you don't have any of those skills.
Mhm.
Ricky isn't particularly skilled at it, but he would have a better, or she would have a better chance at it than you.
All right.
All right. So, um,
So what you want to do is you want to take your reason. What is your reason, George?
my reason is remarkable.
Okay. So
Wait.
you're incredibly intelligent. That's Bruce Banner level, by the way.
Mhm.
And so you're a very, very smart person, and you do have detective espionage. Now, this is not going to give you a bump. It's not a +1 effect, but what it does is allow you to try. Whereas Dinale doesn't have anything at all that would even let him try. So you're actually operating at a negative here, George. So you're sitting at an excellent to try this, but you can at least try it. So go ahead and you're trying to figure a way to trip this door and get it open, right? So, George, you need a yellow for this to be successful, which means, George, you need a 71. So, keep in mind, guys, it's been a couple of weeks, so your active karma is at 100%, right?
Mhm.
So, if you want to use karma, I would suggest you do use karma, George, because you need this to work.
Okay, give me a second. I'm going to bring up my teal 3D dice. I'm
Mhm.
going to clear it. I'm going to choose the D10
Okay, well,
and
hold on, George.
D100.
Before you roll, you got to tell me, are you going to use karma or not?
Give me a second. I'm eyeing my chances. Okay. I have karma. How much? Right now, my karma is at. You said 100.
George, your active karma. Active karma. We have written
Okay,
this down
my
here.
active karma is 11.
No, no.
No, George.
Oh,
No. All right, George.
yeah,
What is your karma?
Okay, it's in my share video. My it says active karma 52 minus 41 equals 11.
70. No, 70. His karma is 70. His
All right.
active karma has been regained to 70. So
Yes,
Oh,
your
it is
current,
back up the
so
top.
yeah,
so
so
I'm back to the top. Okay, got it.
Okay.
yes, so that's why he was saying you're 100% back full
Yes.
stop.
Yes.
Okay. So if I use my active karma and a roll of the dice, I will have a better chance at succeeding.
Opening it.
Yes.
Correct.
Let's do that.
All right.
Okay. So,
Okay, I'm about to roll the
All right.
dice.
Go ahead.
right.
D10 and D100. I'm throwing it, and I got 89.
89. All right. So reduce your active karma by 10. So that
Okay,
brings you down to a 60, right?
minus 10
Yes.
equals 60. Yep.
Okay, and you're able to get the door open. It's not pretty. It actually only opens halfway, and it's seems like it wants to rig itself back into closing. But you do have Ragnarok here, and he easily gets his hand on that door and just opens it up. So
Yep.
you guys have gained entry. This seems to be simply a side hallway entry. So how do you guys want to proceed?
Um, I'll try
I'm,
to see. Go ahead.
I'm going to use my X-ray vision
Hmm.
Hmm.
to see if I can find any of the terminals. What do I perceive?
Okay,
Oh,
you perceive nothing. The
that
same problem you were having at every other Blue Lotus location. They have some kind of jamming sensors that you cannot see through. It
okay.
happens every time you're near any kind of Blue Lotus facility. They have something that blocks your ability.
Okay. Now Ragnarok, what are you going to do?
Well, um, we can't stay here, so we got to keep moving. Is there any signs on the hallways to indicate where we are?
Oh, sure, they're written in Chinese.
Can the tapper translate those words
Probably.
in
It's
Chinese?
you would think it would. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see there's a sign pointing straight at that. Well, there's actually the corridor goes in a little bit and it goes to the left, and there's
Mhm.
a sign that points on the wall. It's continuing to the left. It says Hangar 1.
Okay. What about to the right?
There is nothing.
All right. So I guess we're going to go to the hangar 1 and see if there's a communication hub there. I would imagine so.
Okay. You guys head to the end of that hallway and you look into a fairly large hangar. It's a bit smaller than the one back on the Erie, but for this type of size of colony, it's not a bad size. And there are a bunch of aircraft in here. And there's several disturbing things. One, that big door where the battery is sitting in front of is off to your
Mhm.
left. You see, there are a ton of people moving around here, getting stuff ready, in and out of that door. But what you do see is a whole bunch of troops are in line and they're standing behind a bunch of hover tanks and they're
Mm.
getting ready to move out onto the field. So that's a problem. But there is a you do have your gauntlet, your communication gauntlet, and it is
Yeah.
showing what?
No, no. I was gonna say I would be recording this and just strictly sending it back to our guys to let them know.
Ooh, I don't know if you want to do that.
Okay. Okay. No, no, no. Then
No,
I won't do
you are in a
that.
stealth mission here. You don't want to do
Yeah.
anything like that. No.
Okay.
You can act if you wanted to, but that would certainly might well pinpoint you. You know, there's a lot of scanners going on right now for sure.
Okay.
You've been
Okay. Okay.
trained. Yeah.
All right.
But on the other side of the room, there is a big council that has a ton of people moving around it and interacting with the council and organizing things. So there is a hub there, but that's not the best choice. You
Mm-hmm.
do see that somewhere deeper in the building to your right, however, you don't know exactly how to get there, but you do see that there's one a bit further distance into the building. So you can move into the building and see if you see a more accessible or a lonely spot, or you can try to interact with that one that has dozens of people running and moving around it in this very active room.
We're gonna go deeper to see if we can find
All
the
right.
active hub.
You guys are able to skirt the wall very easily. You do have the cloaks on. Everyone is very busy. They're not particularly looking for you. And you, at the far, as you go to the right, at the far end of this room, on the right, there is a door. And as you guys approach, it actually opens. So, because the cloaks don't mask you from sensors, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
door actually opens, and you guys duck into it quickly. And there's a hallway here going down, and the hallway splits off to the right and left several times into the distance.
Okay. Is there any signs that tells you what the hallways are going
There's
to?
signs that say barracks, ammo dump, mess hall. I mean, all kind of little signs like this. Just standard things you would expect. Although you do notice that it is very military laid out, though. It's not like a home colony type of thing. This is a military base. It seems quite obvious.
So with a training, would I know the standard uh military configuration
No,
based on
not
training?
particularly. They wouldn't. There is no standardization of that. But it's just noticeable that this is not a civilian base. It is a military base. Is all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Now, somewhere up in the distance, off to the right, is where this other communication hub is.
Okay. So we want to continue moving to a communication hub. Unless, oh wait, I'll ask quietly to Ricky if that shield's still up around them
What do you
to do
mean?
the X-ray.
Oh no,
I would tell her.
this whole base is yeah, he doesn't know. He hasn't figured that out yet, but he's been having this trouble every time he's at a Blue Lotus base. Yeah. He can't see his X-rays useless in here. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, as you
Uh,
guys are sitting there quietly talking, there is a platoon of soldiers coming down the hallway, heading toward the door you guys are standing in front of. What do you want to do?
um, move away from the door
How?
to
You got to go back into the hangar?
no. Is there another way to exit?
If you guys move really quickly, there's a hallway. You don't know what's down it, but there's a hallway off to the right. But you'd have to go right now.
Okay,
Then we'll
I'm gonna do a quick recon ahead, have a quick look, and then come right back.
You don't have the
Uh,
time to do that, George. You
oh,
don't. You have to
I've got
make the
time.
decision
No,
now
I've
or
got
don't.
my time.
we're just going. We're going.
All right.
Okay, okay, we're going.
All right. You guys duck into this hallway, and of course, you do have the cloaks. You stop up against the wall. This platoon passes by you. Down this hallway, you see it splits off to the left, about 30 yards away from you, and it goes straight down, and you can see the light and the hum of some manner of generator.
Okay, we'll go down to see what this generator's about.
All right. It's a fairly small room. There are a bunch of technicians working in it. There are a couple of technicians come out of the hallway that you just passed and go back toward the hangar direction. But there are a few technicians in here, and they're just seemingly doing their job. They don't seem as panicked as everybody else, but it's a small little generator room.
Is there a communication terminal
No.
that?
No, there
No.
isn't one. Yeah. If you guys had a security person with you, someone who had those kind of talents, you could probably take the panels that are in here and patch your way through into it. But you don't have that person with you, so you can't do that. Yeah.
Mm.
Unfortunately, you need a hub because you don't have a tech with you.
All right. Is there any other way to get through this place or can we go back to another location?
Well, this isn't where this is not where your gauntlet is telling you the hub is anyway. That's further down
Yeah.
the hallway that you ducked out of.
Okay. So we'll slowly go back
Okay.
and see if there's the coast is clear and then continue moving forward to the hub
You
direction.
guys look down the hallway, and you can see that maybe two hallways to the right, up ahead, is where you need to go.
Hmm.
But of course, you don't know what's there. But unfortunately, sitting in the hallway, you see two of these Strike Force type guys are sitting there chatting in the hallway about something very serious. Of course, they're speaking in Chinese. Of course, your translator on your gauntlet could pick it up if you were a little closer. But they're discussing very seriously about something. But they've been there for a minute and they haven't moved yet.
So maybe Ricky can go there a little bit closer and
You want?
see
Sure.
and pick up what they're saying to be translated
All right. Um,
stealthily.
Stealthily, of course. Nothing, no speeding. But am I able to communicate with Ragnarok if I whisper into my communication device, or will it?
No whispering. You're just there to pick it up,
Mhm.
record, and you come back.
Well,
Okay.
George, just to answer your question though, under normal protocol that you've been taught in this situation, you guys aren't using comms at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. So
So,
you move up now. What you need to do, because now you're getting pretty close to people. So what you need to do is make in a excuse me, a dexterity roll to be stealthy. Now the cloak is going to help you a lot. But
all right.
you do need to make that roll. So give me a dexterity roll, please, or excuse me, agility roll. Sorry.
So it's just a D10 roll, right?
No,
No, it's
D
a
plus
percentile,
100.
George. Percentile. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Throwing it, and I got 76.
Okay, and this is under which? What is your agility, please?
Agility is remarkable.
Okay, so that's a 76. All right, no problem. You were sitting up next to them, and you are looking at your gauntlet, which is translating, right? And
Okay.
they're simply talking about. It seems like there is maybe one of these guys is like a captain or a higher level lieutenant or something like that, and he is talking to the other one about coordinating a flanking maneuver with one of the other complexes in the colony. So they're simply talking military strategy, and you can feel they're probably coming to the end of their conversation. But what do you want to do?
Um,
If Roxy is looking at me, I would wave her just to keep moving forward. If there's nothing important that she needs to tell me.
all right. Now, okay. Since there's nothing important to report back, what do I see around me other than the two guards, so to
You
speak?
have the hallway. There is right just beyond them there is a hallway that breaks off to the left. Further on, there's a hallway that breaks to the right, and beyond that, there's another hallway that goes to the right, which that's where you need to go.
Okay. All right. So I stealthily bypass them.
Okay, you
and
got to
head
give me
down.
another roll, George.
All right, I'm going to give you another roll. Clear, throw. Oh, all right, I roll 25.
Okay, this is a failure, but you do have the cloak. So let me see. All right, so I need to make a roll for these guys. Um, a second. Okay, one of the guys, he kind of looks over in your direction. It's like he feels something, but then he just goes back to his conversation. You are past them, George.
All right.
George.
Now you failed that roll, George, but but because the cloak, it gives them
Mhm.
minuses to their own intuition to notice that, right? And
Right.
therefore they failed, right? But one of them
So,
was literally like 3 points away from succeeding, is why I did that little interaction.
so I'm gonna stuff as well.
All right, you got to have to do the same thing, dude. What is your? Now you're gonna just try to move past them. You're not gonna stop and listen or anything. So,
Right. Yeah.
go ahead and tell me what your agility is.
It's 30. I didn't
Okay,
write the word.
same as George, and go ahead and give me your roll.
My roll
Come on,
is
Rag.
92.
Come on, Rag.
I'm sorry, George. I can't hear what he's saying.
Sorry.
92.
92. Okay, no problem. You're able to move by no problem. Now, where you guys need to get to is 2 hallways to the right ahead. So, what are you gonna do?
We're gonna continue looking. Well, and see if there's nobody coming. As long as nobody's coming, we're gonna continue moving to that hallway.
Okay.
But before we move, what are we looking at? What do we see in our immediate surroundings now?
Same thing I told you, George, hallways. And as you stop to look around, George, coming out of the hallway to the left, which is just slightly behind you now because you have gotten past these two guys, you see come walking out another fellow. He's wearing similar clothing to these, but he obviously is much higher rank. And he has 3 of these guys with him. He starts giving orders in Chinese to them. He's obviously in charge because everyone snaps to when he walks in. These guys are sitting right here, and one of these guys here, his helmet is slightly different,
Ah,
and he is. Let me give a roll for him. Okay, he's scanning the area, and it's just kind of naturally. He's just a soldier, and he's a scan tech is what he is. And he hasn't looked in your exact direction, but you are panicked because this guy might well be able to see you. So what do you want to do?
is there any hallways or no any doorways or rooms that we can
Well,
hide
like I said,
behind?
the where you guys need to go is 2 hallways up to the right. The first hallway to the right is near you. If you made a
Okay,
dash for it, you probably could get into it. Yeah.
doing it.
All right. Give me the sorry. Give me agility rolls, please.
Okay,
Okay.
using karma as well.
All right. I got 3.
All right. And what about you, Denali?
70.
All right. Dinale, you duck into that hallway, no problem. George, on the other hand, does not. He does have that cloak on, however, so let me give a roll for this guy. Now, this guy has a much higher chance of actually seeing you than the other guy. Just understand that.
That guy looks butch.
Okay.
Did you? Too late. Too late. I
All
was saying.
right. You guys
Okay.
are really lucky. You hear no call of alarm as you duck into that hallway.
All right.
All right. Whew.
All right. Continuing on. Um. Whew.
Now
Okay, we're
there's
moving. Go ahead.
Oh no, no, I'm just saying the hallway you need to get to is not is further ahead. But this hallway right here, you see down the end of this hallway, there are a couple going. There's one going off to the right a little bit, but at the end of
Are
this
you?
hallway, you see a big old sign, and your translator says mess hall.
And that's where it's pointing us to, mess hall.
That's what's at the end of this corridor. Yeah.
Okay. Um, shoot. Um, I'll try to see if there's a peek into go. So you said there's only one direction, and that's the mess hall, correct?
You could go to the mess hall. There is a corridor that you don't know what's down it yet, but there's one off to the left in this corridor. And of course, on the main corridor, going the up to the right is where you want to get to eventually. But
Okay.
in this corridor, there of course straight ahead is the mess hall, and there's something going off to the left, but you don't know what it's for.
Okay. Let me see. Is there? Can I roll it intuition maybe to see what my guts is telling me to go to the mess hall or go to the unknown
It
location?
doesn't work like that, dude. No.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a worth a shot to ask.
Sure.
Um, then I would just recommend. Then I would suggest to my better judgment to ask Ricky to check that mess to just peek into the mess hall and come back just to see if there's anybody in there. If there's a lot of people in there, then we will go to that unknown corridor.
Okay.
So all I want her is just to go to the mess hall, just peek in. If there's a lot of people there, then it's a no go, and we'll go to that other location.
All right. Do I need to throw a dice before I
Nope.
actually make the trip
No,
over
you
there?
don't. There's no one in this
Okay.
hallway. You head over to the mess hall. You take a look in. It's completely empty. In the mess hall, it's quite large. There's two doors on the back side. Excuse me, two hallways on the back side. And as you look down, there's a hallway further up in the mess hall onto the left side of the mess hall as you're looking in.
Okay. So, all right. So I'll wait until Ricky comes back to let me know that everything's clear,
All
and
right.
then
So I have had my peek. No one's there. I come back. I report. There's no one there.
okay, and then we'll move forward to the mess hall to quickly get through it and get to the other side to our target.
All right. You guys come into the mess hall, and of course, your target would be at the as you come into the mess hall at the end of the mess hall on the left, of course. And you guys move quickly along. There's nobody in here. Those other hallways, of course, or across the way are clear as well. Mess hall is not a place where you would find people during battle, of course. And as you move into that hallway into the left, you see a hallway going up to your right now, just like you have in every corridor. And this one is, of course, the communication hub that you're looking for is at the end of that corridor to the right.
Awesome. So we continue to be alert, see if there's anybody there. If there's nobody there, then we'll continue on to the hub or
Okay.
where we would be.
Now, the signs here, your translator
Mhm.
tells you that the signs here says Lab 1,
Okay.
and the door is closed.
Okay. Is there like a? Are we able to slowly open it and peek through?
Well, I mean, usually with the doors you've seen, because a lot of this is actually the doors are open, or there are no
Okay.
doors. But the doors you have run into, other than the exterior one, which was clearly locked, that when you get to a certain distance from them, they open. They're automatic doors, just like we have today.
Okay. But this one's not opening. This just
No, no, you haven't got close enough for it to open yet. I'm asking if that's what you want to do.
that's the only that's where the our device is pointing at,
Yep.
then we'll go.
All right. You guys approach. The door opens, of course, and you see in here is a laboratory. It seems like it's a computer laboratory, not a chemical one. And there's a bunch of techs that are in here doing various things. And as the door opens, two of them look over to see why the hell the door is opening. But of course, they can't see you.
Okay.
So what do you want to do? This room is full of people. I'd say there's 7 techs in here.
Um. mm, Let me see.
How far away are we from our target?
About 7 meters.
7 meters. 7 meters. 7 meters.
So we'll quickly move away from the door and let him think, oh, it's just those glitch thing kind of. We're not gonna stand there to be wondering, kind of deal.
All right, the door closes.
Okay. Who has the device?
I don't know. You tell me.
Okay, I guess Ragnarok would have the device. Or no. Because she's faster. Ricky would have the device.
As you guys
So
are sitting here contemplating, the door opens and a tech is looking into the hallway. What do you guys do?
Freeze.
no, and that
All
we're
right,
inside.
Ricky freezes. What are you doing, Ragnarok?
So we're inside to
You're
clarify.
you're in a hallway, dude. You're
I
in
thought
a hallway.
I thought we went into the thing. That's why we were going
Oh
in
no,
there.
no. You said you backed up away from the door so it would close and they would think it was a glitch.
Yes, that's mean us entering
No,
and then
that
they.
backing up is not going forward. There's a difference.
Yeah.
All
Get
right,
back.
all right.
Well, you got to tell
There's
me
no.
real quick what you're doing, dude. Real quick.
There's no way. There's nowhere to duck. So I froze.
You froze. I need to know what Ragnarok is doing in 5, 4, 3, 2,
Um.
1. All right.
Okay.
So this guy is making his roll. Oh, I rolled a 2. All right. He looks right at you, but doesn't see you because of those cloaks.
Okay.
And then he just goes back into the room.
And then we quickly follow him behind him.
That's right.
Okay, so you guys are sitting in the room now. There are techs all over the place. This is not a big room. It's not easy for you guys not to come in contact with them. It's brightly lit as well. And you know that right now you're stopped, right? But every
Right.
movement you make in a bright room like the hallway is one thing. But in a bright room like this, your cloaks are not very useful. When you're not moving at all, you're fine, right? Unless someone touches you or
Okay.
brushes past you.
One technical question. We just have to plug into that terminal.
Yep.
And that's it. We don't have to press any buttons or do any upload buttons or anything like that. It's just plug into that terminal,
Actually,
correct?
you were told that you need to put the device on the terminal. You don't even have to plug it in. It just needs to be in contact with the terminal itself. Yeah.
And you're saying the terminal is just 7 meters away from us right now?
Actually, it's less. It's about 2.5 meters right in front of you. There's
Two and a half.
there's 2 techs working at that terminal right now. It seems what these guys are doing is from just there's a bunch of Chinese chatter, but you could look at your translation that's ongoing. I'm assuming, and these guys are coordinating a tank movement, a group of tanks movement is what they're doing specifically.
Okay.
Okay.
My suggestion is to Ragnarok.
Don't.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
We're in here, so anything that you'd say.
Yeah, you don't want to talk,
just
dude. Come on.
Yeah, we don't want any. If you talk, they'll hear us. So anything.
Okay. Hold a second. Right. Okay. Right now we're frozen still.
Yep.
Okay.
No. We're inside. We
Okay.
follow.
We're inside. We're right now. We're inside, and we have not been detected yet.
And you're not moving a
Correct.
muscle. That's right. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Ragnarok.
So
I'm gonna
No. You're not saying anything to.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. I'm not going to speak any words.
Mhm.
I'm just going to get onto my instant messenger.
No message.
No,
No, he's
no,
already
no.
doing it. Go ahead, George.
Okay, okay. Well, I was going to get onto it. I'm not actually doing it yet. So, gosh darn it! I need a moment to think about this.
These guys are moving around this room. It's inevitable that someone's going to brush by you, dude. It's too small a room for that
Okay.
not to happen.
Would be. I don't know why they didn't bring Envoy, who has telepathic communication, onto this mission.
Maybe Envoy
Thank
is
you,
doing
Tillman.
a very similar thing somewhere else.
Thank you, Tillman. No, I don't believe it. I think this is Tillman's punishment from last mission.
Maybe.
All
Well, I
right.
mean, think about it. So take a moment, guys. Think about what are your options here. You're not actually stealth guys. These cloaks are helping you incredibly. You've gotten this deep in because of them. And then that's,
Right.
you would have been no way you would have got to where you are now without these cloaks. But you're in a
Right.
situation that the cloaks don't really have much value anymore. So, really, what are your options here?
Well, my
Okay.
option is to make a mad dash while Ragnarok does a distraction.
Or
That's what.
maybe clear the room.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. What am I seeing here? I'm seeing tech. All these guys are tech
These are
guys,
human techs, dude.
Right.
and do they have any weapons?
Well, they're on a military base, so they probably all have sidearms, I would assume, yeah. But they're techs, dude.
So
Right.
they're just
They're
weak-willed.
human. Yeah. That's one thing I've
Okay.
told you all along. The Blue Lotus is mainly a human organization, almost to
Can
the
we
point
knock him
that you're
out?
probably
Can we,
feeling that they are probably kind of anti-breed, anti-non-human in a way.
Okay,
can
so
we?
that means we will catch them by surprise.
Oh,
And
sure.
how many are there?
7.
With the
7.
7 of them. Okay.
Can we just knock him out with our
That's
strength?
kind of what I've been thinking you guys would do. Yeah, I gave you several opportunities to either stealth or attack. You have chosen stealth, and it's been very effective for you. But you were in fairly dim hallways. But now you're in a situation that the cloaks really aren't going to do anything for you.
Well, I was trying to go with Metal Gear Solid, where they don't even know we're here. But
I see.
barring
But this room is too small for that, really.
right. Okay, so
All right.
Forte, Brandon Rock Forte is to knock them all out. And I would recommend. I would say, to.
Well, you got to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say to Ricky to blind them.
Yeah.
So they don't raise an alarm
Okay.
while I'm knocking them out, and I'm going to be looking away from all of them. That'll make it easier for me to knock them all out.
Okay. So I decloak and I attack them with my laser eyes.
No, are you going to attack them with your laser eyes, or are you going to use your light flash, your
Yeah,
your
the
light
light
bulb
flash.
effect?
Yeah. The emission thing. What do you call it?
No, dude, they're completely different things, George. You have your laser eyes attack, and you have a big light bloom that you do.
Energy emission.
No,
George.
George.
Yeah, no, it is under his energy emission.
I got travel, energy emission, danger sense, detection, and
Okay,
defense.
well, this is once again, George, you not writing down things I told you to write down, right?
Oh, come on.
But that's all right. That's all right. Just go ahead and roll your power rank of your emission, dude. All right. What is your power emission?
Let me get the
While
dice.
he's doing that, do you want me to roll for
No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
I got 86.
All right. So his light emission goes off. You've looked away. All these are
Mhm.
just normal humans. They would need reds to not be blinded, so I don't even going to bother with it. So
Mhm.
everybody in the room is now blinded and shocked, and they're kind of yelling in Chinese, and what the f is going on? Da 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 da. And
And Randall Rock really wants to quickly punch them all out, knock them out as quickly as possible.
All right, well you can hit the one next to you.
Okay, I hit the next one next to me. Do you want me to roll for, it, or do you just?
Oh no, you don't have to roll, but you slug at him, and you hear his neck
Yeah.
snap as he falls to the ground.
Okay, and I continue doing that for
Or
all
you
the
just
other
killed
10.
him, by the way.
Oh well, enemy
All right, no
combatant.
problem. All right, go ahead,
And do the
just so you know.
yeah. I'm continuing to do all of that because I don't want the text to raise an alarm.
And I'm assuming that George, you were doing the same by trying to drop these guys as quick as possible.
Yeah, I was.
Okay, so you guys go into this room and dropping them, which is pretty easy to do. They're just human text. They don't have any. They've
Hmm.
got like 26 hit points. But
Yep.
you guys are easily dropping them left and right. George, give me an initiative roll, please. Not initiative, intuition, please. Which is what is your intuition?
Give a second. Intuition is incredible, and I'm going to throw just a D10.
No, no, George. It's a percentile dice. Yeah.
Oh, okay, percent of dice. Okay,
The
so
only time you roll a d10 alone is when it's an initiative roll.
okay. So my intuition is incredible, and my roll is 74.
All right. You notice as you're kind of just knocking guys out, lasering them, locking, or whatever you're doing. You
Hmm.
notice one of the guys is kind of smashing on one of the boards, and it looks like he's trying because he can't see, so it looks like he's trying to activate or feel around to activate something.
Would
Now you
Randall
don't
Rock
see,
notice
you do
that?
not see this. No, you do not.
Okay.
This is Ricky only.
Okay.
George, what are you doing?
I disable the guy, and I knock him out.
All right. So you go over and you pull the guy back, and you're able to put him down. You don't know what he was reaching for, but he seemingly didn't activate it. You guys are able to clear this room really easy, and you are now standing in here with a bunch of dead or unconscious people. And the center hub is sitting right in front of you.
All right. We put the device there. Did Tillman tell us how long it would take for
Yeah,
that?
that sure they would have told you. A little light will come on. A little orange light will come on when it's done.
Okay. I would, since the cloaks are off, I would tell Ricky, well, we're waiting for the thing to um, turn on to change into one of the text clothes just in case we need to hightail it. And while they're doing that,
I
see
would
if
like to make one little observation point from the DN's point of view. Neither one
sure
of you are Chinese.
who really pays attention during the battlefield.
I
Yeah.
do believe a little 15-year-old blonde-headed boy would stand out amongst Chinese people. Yeah.
Dirty it up a bit. I'm going to still be wearing a cloak.
Okay. That's fine. Anyways, you waiting.
Um,
It only takes about 3 minutes actually, and that light
awesome.
comes on. Now, as you're doing, there's a bunch of chatter coming out of the mics, excuse me, the
Mhm.
speakers that are in this room, and somebody in Chinese is quite upset on the other side of that line.
Okay, we're not going to answer it. But what we are going to do is are we able to find out plug in information to see where the quickest exit from this place would be?
Same way you came.
Okay, and that's what we're going to be doing
All right.
um, before the cavalry returns. So cloaks back on and
Now,
getting out of
as
here.
as you guys are
And the
picking it
device.
up, that device, putting it on you, getting your cloaks going and ready, your gauntlets light up, and communications start coming out of it, which you is shocking to you because that is very much against protocol. And the words that are coming through are very, very simple: retreat. retreat, retreat, retreat. All lines retreat. All lines retreat.
Son of a gun. Those
Well,
crazy.
okay, we gotta hightail it. So, I'm gesturing like we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go fast.
Okay.
So that's
You
what we're
guys get
doing.
into the hallway. I'm assuming you take the route through the mess hall, which was empty before,
Mhm,
which it still is. You go through there. You go up that hallway. You look down to your left, which is going back to the entrance. There's nobody here. You head down to the hangar. The hangar is less busy than it was before because all those tanks and troops are gone from
mhm.
here. But there's still a bunch of people moving around. But you're able to get through the far side of the wall and stick to it. And you're
Mhm.
standing outside of the door that you hacked your way into. Here's your problem. You see the field ahead of you is nothing but the enemy. You do not see any order people anywhere near you.
Okay. Um, the hangar that we passed by, is there a tank or anything there that we can hijack?
There probably is one or two various vehicles sitting around that aren't being used. Yeah, sure.
I look at Ricky. We're gonna have to hijack one of those vehicles and try to make it back quickly.
All right. What are we? What vehicles exactly are we looking at?
There's like a kind of like a half track type of vehicle
What's a
and
half track?
a small aerial shuttle.
All
Okay.
right. All right.
While you
So,
guys are looking back in the hangar
Hmm.
from where you are, you get another message come across, and it's Tillman, and he's talking directly to you guys. He says, connect the device to your comm gauntlets. Upload the data now.
All right, so I do that.
All right, and you guys are sitting here. No one is still seeing you. You guys are safe, and the data is finished uploading. Tillman says, "Destroy that Lagon device. Do it now.
Sir,
Destroy the device."
I want to do maybe an intuition to see if that's
You don't need to roll for intuition, dude. That's not we don't
okay.
you can't guess your way into understanding. This is where the your human aspect comes into it, right?
Hmm.
He says, "Repeat, destroy the device."
okay, that's a toughie. I say we tell him we destroyed it, but don't destroy it. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm not saying that I'm doing that.
Actually, you're in a situation where you are right now. You guys could talk softly without a problem. Most of the activity right now in this place is happening outside. So you're actually a good distance between you and any other people that are moving around that hangar. So you could talk to each other. But Tillman comes back again. He says, "Confirm order. Destroy device.
Sir, didn't isn't this an important artifact for the order?
Destroy the device now."
I say let's just follow orders and get the
Okay.
heck out of Dodge.
All right. So he destroys the
Oh, with your strength, it's easy to do.
yeah.
The thing crackles. It's got some weird gooey stuff that's on your hand after doing it because it is kind of a lot of the Legon technology has a bit of a biology involved in it, oddly. But you crush and destroy it. And he says, "Confirm, confirm."
Mm-hmm.
Do you confirm?
Confirm. Confirm.
Good luck to you, gentlemen. Stay hidden. And then the channel goes
Uh,
off.
all right.
All right. So basically, we're left to our own devices to get the heck out of Dodge.
Yep.
Yep.
What? How many troops are we? Am I seeing ahead of us
Thousands.
on the field?
Thousands.
We got thousands,
Yeah.
and
This colony, you don't was told to you that there were probably about anywhere between 2 and 3,000 people here. There are way more, way more. You have no clue how many, but a lot more than that. But your
oh,
intel was saying 2 to 3,000, but that was wrong. Very wrong.
Mm.
all right. All right, so I'm thinking that we stow away on a shuttle and just wait for it to fly away, and then we
First of all, we need to get away from here, and second of all, what shuttle are you talking about?
well, there's a shuttle and there's a half armored transport.
Right, we
A
need to
half
get
track.
to our own a half track. We need to get to our own uh, plane and things
Yeah, I know, but
relatively
but the distance between where we are.
question.
Go ahead.
Will the cloak maintain us from here to how we traveled, or will that be powered off?
You still have a good hour of energy left in this cloak.
Okay. I would ask Ricky, do you see from what you see do those devices have scanners?
What do you mean?
Uh,
The those people, the enemy, they're on vehicles or they're soldiers just scanning around.
In the
'Cause I'm
hangar.
trying.
Oh, there's a mix. There's certainly a lot of there are soldiers in here. That general you saw before, or whatever his rank is, the
Mhm.
high-ranking guy is in there actually barking orders to a bunch of techs over near the hub in that room.
Okay.
As you guys are sitting here trying to decide what you want to do, you see one of those half track. The half track is it's kind of like a floating tank, but
Yeah.
it has like a big carrier cargo troop carrier area in the back of it. Is basically what it
Mhm.
is. You see that one coming, but you see a flatbed version of one coming in, and laying on that you see several order Erie members. Right, a couple of them are quite famous. But one of those that are lying on there, you don't know if they're dead or not, is actually one of the Jupiter 10 members, which we haven't run into yet. Let's call her
Mhm.
Kelsey. Kelsey, who you guys have trained with, you know her very well. She is lying on this flatbed as well.
Well, that answered one question.
Your whole team's not there. It's actually mixed. It's not just Jupiter, one of the Jupiter team, but she's actually part of Jupiter 10 itself, right?
Right. So I'm just saying, answer a question what we're gonna do.
okay,
All
gentlemen,
right.
let's pause this game for just a moment. Okay, I just have to step away from the microphone. Okay,
Okay. No problem, George.
Okay.
just a
Well,
moment.
anyway, let me come over here and look at the chat. There's not a lot
Yeah.
of interaction, of course. You know, we're doing a game, but I understand that. But Nick W says, I don't trust Mr. Tillman. Toss him into the airlock. Goodness gracious. Bug Bob says, Pixel Trader. Ah, I got it now. Sorry. So Lone Star is a subject for Drone Quarter tomorrow. Yes, I have for a long time because of a kind of inside joke with the people who understand it. I am the biased one, right? And I guess Mike is taking over that reins because he is doing his own character for Drawn and Quartered, which, all right. Let's see here. Nick Dibby says, I get the feeling Mr. Tillman is using them to remove the Blue Lotus so he can run organized crime throughout the galaxy. Okay, Nick. Who knows, right? Nick W says, I want a gun to throw at someone's head. George 2019. There you go. Let's see here. Obi-Wan Review says, Hail God's Blood. Thank you very much. Bullet says, I always miss the start of these. Sorry, dude. Roger Heller says, stay blessed, guys, and stay safe, everyone. See you guys tomorrow for a movie night. A future vote for a movie night. How about 1980s Altered State? Ooh, that's not a bad flick.
Yeah.
I don't, yeah. Do you know that movie?
No, I've seen it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's a weird flick, but it
Yeah.
is called Altered States. Let's see.
Good
Bullet says pen and
titles.
paper, or make a text file on your desktop. Yeah, well, it's easy to do. Chili dog for Sonic. I don't understand that one.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I don't understand the connection to the
His
reference.
favorite food. His favorite food is chili dogs.
I see.
It, yeah.
Eric
From
Hawkins
90.
says this is more interesting than I thought it would be. Oh, thank you. Trying to entertain you. Are you entertained? We're
Are
waiting for
you
George.
entertained?
Actually, I'm going to
Sorry.
grab a refill my water real quick since we're here. So
Yeah.
entertain them, Dinale.
Well, I'm gonna use the break as well, and then come right back as well. Take a 5.
What? I just got back from the break. Gee whiz. All right, all right. Let's see how many people are in the chat.
Be right back.
Oh, where's the chat? Where? There you go. Okay. Anyone has any questions for Judge? Don't be shy. Let's see what we got here. Oh, we got from the bottom up. Dinale said, "Gotta go fast." Eric Hawkins says, "This is more interesting than I thought it would be."
Well, I'm glad that they like it. All right, got my water and I'm back. So, as you guys are sitting here trying to decide what you want to do, an interesting little development happens. Coming out of a larger door at the back of the hangar, which you guys stayed on the side doors, right? But coming out of a larger door at the back of the hangar, it opens and you get these. Of course, these troops coming in, like that you've seen before, the Blue Lotus soldiers, and one of them barks out something, and everyone in the room snaps too hard. Even the general stands at the ready, and walking in behind them, you see Dr. Chen, and walking in behind him, you see two breeds that have been cybernetically altered. What do you guys
Oh
want to
my,
do?
oh my gosh! I want to wait for Ragnarok, and I'm thinking,
These characters.
Well, you have Dr. Chen coming in, and they're directly behind him, and there are several other troopers behind them. So there's troopers in
okay,
the front and troopers in the back.
so Doctor, these troopers take or direct orders from Dr. Chen, right?
You've seen them do so in the past, yeah.
All right, Ragnarok. I suggest that we just kill Dr. Chen instantly, and become the new overlords of the base.
um, Here's the thing. Unlike if you remember a couple weeks ago, the only one who was holding out with just the three of them was just me, and you got knocked out. So I think if we're going to have any chance, we're going to have to free those prisoners. And I'm pointing kind of like the tank cover tank that has a prisoner before we can enact your insane plan. But I think we should escape more than actually try to take over the base.
Okay.
That's my suggestion.
All right. So the plan is to free the hostages or the people that are captured,
Right.
and they use them as shields as we take out Dr. Chen.
Right.
Too much?
You guys do notice that other troopers in the room are because the general comes over and his little staff that's with him, and they start communicating with Chen directly. You notice the activities kind of go back to normal, and troopers start pulling the bodies off of that flatbed. And just kind of flunking them onto the ground, and you see people coming up with bags, and they're starting to put them in bags.
So are they dead, or are they still alive?
You don't know. They look dead though.
Mm.
Some of them are obviously dead when you start seeing it because you only kind of saw them piled on. But as they start getting pulled off, some of them are obviously dead. They're missing chunks out of their head or holes through their chest or limbs missing. Others are not as readily dead. But everybody's bloodied up for sure.
Okay. What are they doing with the ones that are still alive?
You haven't seen a live one come off yet.
Okay. So, so we have Dr. Chen, the cyborg freaks,
A general, a
Okay,
bunch of
okay.
strike force guys.
Okay.
I say in this room right now, you probably of these strike force types, you probably have 20, 25 of them, and a bunch of techs running around, techs and also just ground workers.
Okay,
But
this is what I suggest before we actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We already accomplished our mission. We got the data to them, and so now it's just a matter of us escaping. I say we just go out like Butch and Sundance.
Let me see. Is
I mean,
there?
we got an entire legion behind us and an entire regiment in front of us. So what do we have to lose?
mhm. As you guys are discussing your options, you're still in a good position. You're well hidden.
Mhm.
There's no danger
Yeah.
of detection for you guys. You do things get worse though, because walking into the room, you see this thing you saw before.
Oh,
Walking in, and in his hand, you see where you see he has on the skull, and dragging
Mhm.
behind him. You don't know if he's alive or not, but you see Stormhead of Saturn Six. He's like one of the most legendary Order members, and he's been dropped by this thing.
Yikes.
okay. So we just gotta get out of here. Okay.
Yeah, that's
I
probably.
I, I say I say I use my incredible speed. Get into that tank. You catch up with me. I pilot the tank and shoot as much as I can, blow a hole, and then hightail it out. And yeah. Oh, can we call the ship on remote control to bring it to us?
But they would blow it out if they see that ship coming.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
need
yes,
to
they will, but
just
they will be
let me
distracted.
just. You guys can do whatever you want, but let me just say, George, you're not thinking clearly.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're not thinking. You're basically asking us to die and no way out.
well,
Um,
the more we talk about it right now, the more Chester's going to pile on more stuff.
Oh no,
So
Chester has piled the last thing on.
yeah. So basically,
Well,
what
there
we
is
need
one more
to
thing, but you know.
I see. There you go.
do, what we need to do is, um, I think we can take our chances slowly getting through. Back how we made it through. They're not expecting us. Um, to be there, so they're not going to be actively looking at us. Our cloak is good for another hour, which will be just enough time for us to make our escape.
Okay, let's do it.
So, all right,
Okay.
so that's what we're going to do.
I want to get away from this beast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as you guys are making your decisions and getting ready to go,
Yeah.
Dr. Chen barks an order across the hangar because he's just been you're not close enough to hear his conversation. But of course,
Mhm.
this gets translated onto your gauntlet because I'm assuming you haven't shut that off yet, since everything around here is in Chinese. And he barks across the order. He says, "Take those bodies down to cybernetics. Bring the captured Stornhead to me. We will take it down and connect it to the Sentinel."
What? The Sentinel?
Hmm.
Um, are we able to connect to commute HQ?
You could try. You know the dangers of it, but you could try.
Hmm.
I mean, he did it to you, which would have pinpointed you, but luckily it was so much chaos that it didn't really matter.
All right, so I think that's going to be important. All right, so I'm looking at Ricky. They said to connect this to the Sentinel, and you know what that means, right?
Yep, it means connecting it to the Sentinel.
George hasn't been paying attention at all.
I
So,
know what the Sentinel is. So, it's one of those big things that
No, George, it's not. No.
it's not.
No, I've told the story every episode. I've updated everybody on what's going on. A sentinel was left by the Lagon to protect the Earth, and he
Yeah,
was killed and
yes.
disappeared
What did it
a
just say?
few
The
years
big thing
after
that
they
disappeared.
left. Decades of war have ensued. How many times have I
That's
said that? I'm curious.
yes, I know.
Five
I said
times?
the big thing that I said the big thing that disappeared. What are we talking about? The Sentinel, of course. I got it. I know. I used the word, the big thing that disappeared.
Okay.
Okay, so this thing is there, and it's in the hands of the bad guys. We
Right.
got to get it out of the hands of the bad guys.
Mhm.
But we can't do it just with the two of us. So we need to survive and relay that information that they have the Sentinel.
So right now we have to escape with this valuable information. All right, got it.
Yeah.
All right, then
Or or risk detection and simply announce it across your comms.
Um.
all right. Let me put it this way. Ragnarok, will you be able to successfully escape if I distract them?
No,
Um, uh,
we're escaping together.
uh,
We'll actually die quicker if you try to be a
Okay,
distraction.
Now,
then let's just
let
get.
me give you a little bit more assessment as well. I mean, we didn't get into details; we just kind of assumed. But you guys, of course, are in your uniforms. But you do have the cloaks on, but you're in your space-bound uniform, meaning you have your helmets on and you have your little packs. Now, you have plenty of air for weeks. Very nice invention, actually. It's almost perpetual air. It's not completely, but it's an incredible system that was developed by a breed, actually. So you do have plenty of air, but you are on an alien planet. The force field has been dropped. There is no inside these places. There's plenty of air, right? And there are air
Mhm.
generators going around, so you're fine. Even though the shield's down, you're fine in this area. But if you guys walk outside of this area, you're on Mars.
Right,
All right,
but our ship is
let's
close by as
let's
well.
blow a hole in the door and in the wall. Let's vacuum this entire place.
No, it's not like that. If
Uh,
you go back, let me explain more detail. I it didn't come up before, so it wasn't necessary. But you see these big tall stacks that are sitting in this picture? You see these
yeah.
big tall
Hmm.
stacks? What these things
Yeah.
are is atmosphere generators. So, and that's why they're all pointed toward the center here, because and there's more you can't see behind us, of course. But these are generating atmosphere within this colony. Right, and many of the colonies on Mars have similar devices. They are working toward making Mars completely terraformed, but that's like literally decades away. So inside of the band of these things, you're fine. But outside of that, you're literally on Mars. Now you do have plenty of air. You might be able to walk your way into another colony, possibly. It's a risky choice, but you might be able to make it. You do know that this colony is a little bit distant from the rest, obviously intentionally because the Blue Lotus wanted to stay hidden. But your air supply would would be challenged for Ragnarok anyway. For Ricky, can move at high speeds and be able to get to a colony pretty quickly. So maybe there's a solution there as well. But I'm just telling you that this additional problem, because you do have those cloaks, you got about an hour. You could certainly get outside the barrier. Without much problem, you could do it easily in open ground, right? So getting
We're
out of
gonna
this
do that.
space is not a problem, right?
We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. It's important information. Ricky will can do high speed, and she could probably bring out help, or hijack a vehicle, stealthily and bring back that vehicle and pick me up. But that'd be the quickest way instead of fighting the beast, fighting all those people.
All right, because I was thinking of calling a lifeline and asking the chat what we should do.
It's good
No,
point.
no,
Let's ask the chat
yeah,
what you think they think you should do.
all right,
What do you
all
guys
right.
think?
All
We
right.
have the situation is there are several heavy hitters in this room. If these guys were facing any single one of those heavy hitters, they could probably win. The beast is a rough one, but they probably one on one. These two against all those guys, ooh, that's they might be able to drop a couple, but they probably can't get them all for sure. And So what do? They can't directly affect it heads on? Do they try to get deeper? They try to find out where cybernetics is because they are taking these dead heroes down there for some purpose. Do they try to find out where the Sentinel is and try to sneak in behind them? Do they simply escape and try to go across the desert, as it were, and find themselves another colony and regroup, or any other option? What do you guys think?
You decide our fate.
Eagle 43 says, offer them the location of the hidden Japanese gold on the Philippines. Okay. Eagle 43 says, in. All right. Anybody else have any ideas of what they should do? They do have many options. Most of them are not very good, though. Anybody?
They're they're spellbound as we are, Chester. They want to see what we do, what impossible choice we would do.
Well, it is an impossible choice. We can simply head off into the desert, try to get to the next colony, and leave it as a cliffhanger for season 2. That's not a problem. Escape, Eric says. If you guys try to move in, we could see what goes on with that. But it's up to you.
All right, let's try the escape.
All right.
All right.
The escape is fairly easy, actually. Like I said, you guys are moving along, and unfortunately, as you're getting toward the edge here, you keep looking for opportunities to steal a vehicle. But all the vehicles, of course, it's just a big battle that's taking place, and they're holding positions, and there's just a lot of troops. Now, you guys could probably get in there and engage with a group of troops and take them down. I mean, you are super powered, but that would certainly raise an alert. You couldn't do that quietly. So unfortunately, you get to the edge of the atmosphere here, and there is no vehicle. You're just going to have to go out on foot.
All right.
All right.
Okay, we do it.
All right. So you guys do that, and there are ways where Ricky could be of help with that and stuff, but we'll get to that later. So here's our situation. The Blue Lotus has kicked the tail out of the Order. Of course, on home ground, we do have to keep that in mind. The Order has retreated. These guys find themselves stuck on Mars, trying to get to another colony across the desert. And they do have a good supply of air, but it's not eternal. And of course, water and things like that are going to be another issue, right? So our heroes are certainly in a dire straits. We have found that the Sentinel still exists somehow. We don't know exactly how so, but they have it. Dr. Chen seems to be a much higher authority than we might have thought he was. And they have some serious heavy hitters. Actually took down Stormhead of Saturn 6, which, like I said, he is one of the most well known celebrities amongst the superhero order. Now, that doesn't mean he's the most powerful, but he is powerful and he's very well known. And he got dropped by a single guy, it looks like. So this is a serious situation, and we are going to leave it on that cliffhanger now until next time. All right. Well, what do you guys think about my little story so far?
Same Chester channel.
Yes, that's right. So what do you guys think about my story so far?
Oh,
They're like saying, no, we got to find out if they actually survived.
okay. Listen, I'll paint you a picture of upcoming episode. My character, Ricky the mongoose, runs ahead to the next colony, gets the supplies and a transport, and comes back and picks up our fearless Ragnarok as he's just about to pass out because all his supplies are diminished. Save him, pull him into the transport, plug him in. His stuff is his resources is recharged. We speed away to the next colony. We hop on transport and hightail it out of there.
Okay, maybe.
That's just a preview. You don't get to see the details.
Well, that's an assumption, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, guys, this God's Blood series, of course, just kind of created to introduce the Marvel role-playing superhero system. It's a really good system. You can go super combat heavy if you like, and we've done a couple episodes that had quite a bit of combat in it, or you can go more storytelling like say with Vampire, which is very heavily relies more on the storytelling than combat. You can do anything you want with it. It works really, really well. I think the system is a wonderful system, and if you are role players yourself and you haven't used it before, please do go check it out. It's an old system from the early '80s, but it's still a great system. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to put the God's Blood on hiatus for season 1 is finished now, and we will pick it up again later, I do believe. And I'm going to try to work out getting us. Of course, we have these two guys, but we're also going to work on seeing if we can't get a bigger team to help deal with that issue, because that's an issue that needs a big team, right?
What a cliffhanger!
Right.
What a cliffhanger!
Oh, well, thank you. And of course, we're going to be doing a couple of little nerdy things here in Bugbear's Basement. Of course, this is the home of nerddom here. But we eventually are going to also move into our Vampire the Masquerade season 1. And that's going to be a very different type of storytelling, but it's going to be fun too. So
Oh
thank
yeah.
you all for joining us. Thank you for being with us. We were able to keep this nice and tight, 2 hours pretty much, Dinale. I'm happy
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
Yeah, take us out of here, Dinale.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for God's Blood. Join us tomorrow for Bunny Vision Movie Night, where we're going to be watching Little Shop of
Suddenly
Horrors.
Seymour
Oh, wait, which one?
standing
Is that
The
beside
the
you.
the 50s
original
or
one.
the 80s?
Suddenly
80s.
Seymour.
Gee
Yes,
whiz, man.
I love that movie.
Of
Hey,
course,
can
the 80s.
Arnold Schwarzenegger save us
No,
in
no,
season
definitely
2?
no, definitely not. Yeah.
What about the
I'm
Martian
sorry,
guy?
Denali. Little Shop of Horrors tomorrow.
Absolutely. But as always, your perception shapes your reality, so always make it a good one.
Namaste.
Say,
Later, guys.
aloha.